Once they took advantage, they never did it again. You were aware of it as soon as it occurred. When respect departed the room, there was a subtle change in the atmosphere. With their hands outstretched and their voices warm, they grinned in your face. Beneath it, however, are weakness, greed, and hunger disguised as charm. You allowed them time. You trusted them. You offered them a fragment of your armor, assuming they would use it as a shield. It was like a damn goblet, so you slipe, and you, silently, stood there bleeding. You were learning, not because you were weak. You see, betrayal isn't always audible. It can sound like laughter at times. It appears to be love at times. You believe that loudness, commands, frantic swinging, tantrums, and quantity are the sources of strength. After the fall, the quiet, and witnessing the people you nourished with your own hands turn around and spit in your face. Strength emerges. You weak mercs, what's that? They exploited your generosity, your tolerance, and your capacity for optimism, and now they can't recall. They never noticed the line, thus they don't remember how they crossed it. In sand, you drew it, they easily removed it. However, it was the lesson, and that was the final instance. Once they exploited it, never again. When you get up, you don't make an announcement, you vanish. Without warning or words, you sever ties. The loudest retaliation is the quietest way out, so you shut the gates without slamming them. Comfort could never teach as quickly as pain. More than any master, disrespect sharpens the blade. Now that blade isn't just for show. It's not for showing off. It is crafted in solitude, polished in silence, and carried with intention. You no longer move in response to applause. Like a shadow in the storm, you move like a ghost. But the atmosphere shifts when you get there. You now know this. If you don't enforce boundaries, people will test them. You believe that loyalty was sufficient. You believe that your heart was armor. You forgot, though, that wolves don't feel sorry for sheep. You spend time with them. You regain attention now. You spoke out for them. You now only speak through deeds. You committed your allegiance to them. You now dedicated to your objective. This is the change. You don't try to get closure. You don't ask for an apology. You don't struggle to be understood. Silence speaks for you. You allow absence to be a punishment. Evolution took care of the retaliation. You were never considered harmful by them. They considered you to be safe, helpful, and approachable. However, you are still now. You can no longer be read. You are now everyone's threat and no one's choice. They'll remember you in a new way. Not as the person they tricked, but as the person who vanished with the how to turning and over that gentle, forgiving side of yourself. The instant they crossed the boundary, he passed away. Additionally, the individual who got up kept receipts. The line is held by him. He doesn't smile as much. Silence is not a sign of weakness, so he listens more. It's a tactic. It's the skill of avoiding wasting fire on undeserving people. Let them ponder your whereabouts. Allow them to communicate with the spirit of the version they utilized. Allow them to for minutes as the mirror is now spotless. Furthermore, what they perceive is not who you were, but rather who they are. The chamber they poisoned was too small for you. The script they wrote for you was burned. Instead than waiting for them to change, you made changes to yourself. Noise is not revenge. You don't need them to get revenge. It's becoming impossible to get revenge. No response, no explanation, no access. You don't demonstrate your abilities. Quietly, you totally become out of power is that. Because you allowed them to get near, they believed you were weak. They believed that your heart was a vulnerability. They thought you were empty because of your sensitivity. However, that was before you realized the value of your silence. That was before you realized that when kindness is betrayed, it turns into a monster. Your soul is now made of steel. You've earned your peace now. Your standards are now the barrier that prevents them from entering. You're not resentful. You're paying attention. You don't act cruelly. You're accurate. You're not damaged. You're sophisticated. Allow them to notice the difference. Allow them to sense the distance. Let it taste like regret when they call your name. You can't go back to your former self. That door is no longer there. There is ash on that bridge. When your hands were open, they had their opportunity. You've closed your fists now. Not out of rage, and not by lowering yourself to their level. Instead of matching their energy, they completely vanish from the equation. You're unreachable now that they've exploited you once. You can no longer be read. You are now untouchable. The purest form of retaliation is evolution. Just progress, no conflict. You are not there to prove anything. You let them be haunted by your absence. You don't flex. You're done. Only one fact is left when everything is silent once again. The smoke clears and the commotion subsides. Once they took advantage, they never did it again. Once they took advantage, they never did it again. Don't soften, though. Avoid becoming sentimental. Not right now. The open hand is not rewarded in this world. It takes advantage of it, and now you are aware of that. They took advantage of your uncertainty, your optimism in it. It's dead weight now. That part of you that wanted to have faith in people, allow it to decay. You don't beg to be seen in this version of yourself. You disappear and let your achievements be heard loudly. No more justifying, explaining, or demonstrating your value to those who are too blind to see it. They will never be able to survive you when you're at your most dangerous if they can't appreciate you when you're at your most giving. Since you are now building on your own, you sharpen now silently. Where your words previously spoke, now your discipline speaks. They want to keep you subdued, dependable, and secure. It was never intended for you to be secure. The storm was meant for you. They also awakened it, the flame within you. It's not anger. It's not hatred. It's lucidity, a frigid, unwavering clarity. You recognize the reality of the world. You recognize individuals for who they are. And you see your side it was but behi of that shield. A force, a law, an unwavering presence, an unyielding norm, neither a victim nor a rescuer. You now wear your suffering like armor. Their betrayal serves as fuel for you. You don't pursue, you give orders. Now this is the law. Outgrowing parasites is something you never apologize for. You never give a reason for leaving the table. Instead, you constructed your own stronghold. Allow them to gossip. Allow them to distort the facts. Allow them to tell but final, silent, and unwavering. Eventually they will return. They do it every time. Curiosity, not love. They'll want to know how you handled it, how you maintained your composure, and how you moved on. You won't be able to communicate in their language by then, though. You'll be at ease with advancement, tranquility, and purpose. Your response will come from your life. Your message will be your absence. You gave them one opportunity. They prioritized ease over effort, control over connection, and comfort over loyalty. They now observe from the sidelines. You didn't grow resentful. You improved. You didn't back down to give them a sense of security. They were unable to breathe the same air because of your expansion. Now that's the difference. Bridges are not burned in the distance. You allow them to drown. You don't discipline them. You outgrow them. You buried your vulnerability in that stillness, that gap between who you were and who you are. Because you no longer give yourself up so readily, you won't ever be taken advantage of again. You keep your hand hidden. The blueprint is not given to those who haven't earned it. You observe. You take measurements. You make the decision. It's rare to have access to you now, and once it's gone forever. There is no re-entry or reset. The gate was constructed by. The key is in your possession. Once they exploited it, never again. Once they exploited it, never again. Soon they will witness it. Through outcomes, not through words. The new you doesn't look back, doesn't prove anything, and doesn't explain himself. The updated version is unresponsive. He watches, he does calculations, he constructs, he then crushes. Allow them to have doubts. Doubt is a gift. You no longer need to be seen, so they won't notice it coming. Give them the impression that you lost. Allow them to chuckle. Allow them to show off their illusions. You've already prevailed. Because the story belongs to the person who remains silent, you work on yourself while they talk about you. You make the next step while they speculate. Success doesn't have to be loud. It simply appears in the mirror, in the bank, and in the quiet that follows your feet. Gravity no longer owns you, therefore you rise. Words are not a form of retaliation. With serenity, distance, and power beyond their reach, you exact revenge. They'll search for the previous version of you, the talkative, impulsive, and dependent person. However, that version has been buried, burned away in the fire they started and left behind like dead weight. Now that your steel has been sharpened in the dark, it is indestructible. When your success enters vacant places where people used to make fun of your name in hushed tones, it speaks in echoes. Presence is the loudest thing in any room. Not words, not noise, just being there. Let it hit them while you remain motionless. Allow it to haunt them. Allow it to humble them. You're not upset. You're not resentful. You don't make much noise. You're paying attention. You are the last. You've finished your explanation. Let karma demonstrate to them the power first to cage you to them in the murder, since this is the law. The throne belongs to the man who keeps his mouth shut. Results are indisputable. A legacy is the most powerful rumor. What has already been written cannot be blocked. They'll say they were acquainted with you. They will claim to always believe, but karma doesn't miss and quiet remembers. Thus construct silently. Eat away at your ego. Feel the grind. Allow your wounds to heal. Don't waste time correcting idiots. Dead plants should not be watered. Don't declare your retaliation. Become it. Be the calm amidst the chaos. Act like a wolf in the forest. Be the unpredictable fire. Let the scales be balanced by the universe. Allow time to reveal the truth. Allow karma to do what it does best. Because it doesn't require subtitles when it hits. It will be heard by them. They'll sense it. They will remember. Because you didn't tell them. Not because you told it like white. Let that be quite big. Let the voice of karma be heard. Keep quiet. Let the voice of karma be heard. They attempted to bury you with laughter, doubt, noise, and lies, and you came close to believing it. You came close to breaking, explaining, and proving. But you were drawn back by something more profound. Not anger, not arrogance, nor disgust. You should be disgusted by the part of you that justice needed to be declared. Disgusted by the frailty of wanting to be understood. It altered at that point. At that point, the sound ceased to have any significance. Silence became holy at that point. Since quiet is not meaningless, it has a lot of power, accuracy, and patience. When you are going to strike, you don't yell. When you've already won, you don't give an explanation. They expected you to destroy yourself after betraying you. They made fuck. They left expecting you to crawl. Lord, Lord, give it a minute, please. Another, I'm all right. Lord, 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 give it your all.